Welcome to the January installment of our virtual C-Dub Classics presented by Kaiser Permanente. C-Dub Classic provides monthly health and wellness activities to Santa Cruz County residents. Hi, I'm Andrew Gong and I am with the Santa Cruz Warriors as an assistant athletic trainer. I will be running my trusty assistant here, Mac, through some stretches for your lower body.
Yep, I'm Mac Osborne. I work in basketball operations for the Santa Cruz Warriors. And yeah, gonna be showing you guys some stretches today, so looking forward to it.
All right, to kick us off with our C-Dub Classic lower body stretches, we're gonna work on some plantar fascia stretching. With this, you're gonna roll a little towel or something underneath your foot in front of the toes. And from here, you're gonna keep the toes down and lift this leg up, kind of let the bottom of your feet get a good stretch right underneath. You can hold it for 10 seconds and then relax, and then go up again. And as you get more comfortable, you can extend that to 30 seconds and really feel that stretch in the bottom of your foot. For this next stretch, we're going to be doing a seated calf stretch where you will use your own muscles to kind of stretch yourself. From here, you'll keep your leg nice and straight. With your foot relaxed initially, you'll pull the foot straight up, and you'll feel all of this in your calf kind of stretch out. Hold it for 5 to 10 seconds. You'll get a big stretch initially, and then over time you'll feel more loose and you can extend that time after that. I'll also show you a seated position to stretch a different part of your calf too. Okay, for this next one, we're stretching the soleus, which is another part of your calf. In this position, you'll be at a 90-degree angle to start, and then you'll slide your foot back. And then the key here is to drive the heel into the ground, and you'll feel the stretch kind of lower down the calf. If you don't feel that quite yet, you can also slide it back a little more and push that down, and you'll probably feel that. We'll also move into a standing position to show you another variation of this too. So in this position, we'll be standing to get the calf stretch also. For here, you'll have both feet facing towards the wall, and then you'll be working the back leg. Bend this leg and kind of shift your hips forward, and you should feel a big calf stretch here. The next one we'll do is shift the foot forward and bend both legs, and you should feel the soleus stretch down below. So you can do these in like 10 seconds to 30 seconds, depending on how you feel. Kind of rotate it back and forth between right and left leg so you can even yourself out. For this next one, we'll be doing a hamstring stretch from a seated position. What I like to have them do is sit a little close to the edge of the chair and then straighten one leg out. Good. And then from here, you'll kind of shift your upper body forward, but don't bend through the back, or else you're not really getting much. It's more of a hip shift forward. So here, and then you should feel all of your hamstring up and down. And then hold that, and then come back up, and then repeat. Okay, for this next one, we'll be doing the hamstring stretch from a standing position. So what you'll do is kick your leg up, keep it nice and straight. Thing to keep in mind that we don't open our hips away from that leg, and we keep it nice and closed. Then from here, you'll do the same thing and shift your hips forward and get that stretch up and down your hamstring. One thing I like to do to prevent you from punching over when you do this stretch is do like a leg slide and have your arm just like slide down your leg to keep your upper body straight. Hold that, switch sides, and keep stretching. So for this next one, we'll be doing a quad stretch for the front of the thigh. What you'll do is grab the leg here, good. From there, you'll be feeling a stretch in the front of the leg, and then if you need more of a stretch or want more of a stretch, turn this glute on by squeezing that side, and you'll feel the hip flexors and also your quad at the same time for a great stretch right there. We're going to show you another variation where if you can't necessarily grab your leg comfortably, you can prop it up onto a chair. So we're going to prop that leg up, keeping the foot up here. You'll feel a little bit of stretch here. If you want more, same thing where you kind of squeeze that glute on that same side to kind of extend your hips forward from here and here. So same thing where you kind of hold it for like 10 to 30 seconds, depending on how you feel, switch sides so you can even out. Another position for a similar stretch is in a half kneel, where you'll have one knee down and one leg up in a 90 degree angle, and then you'll work into a hip extension by squeezing this glute again, making sure that you don't really arch back, stay nice and tall, glute squeeze, and you'll get a quad and hip flexor stretch here. Same thing where you kind of hold it for 10 to 30 seconds, however comfortable you feel with it, switch sides and repeat. We're moving up into the hip now and working some piriformis. From here you'll be sitting nice and tall like Mac. Bend this leg over the knee. Good. Stay nice and tall. And from there you might feel a stretch, but if you don't, keeping that tall position, shift forward. Good. And then you should feel the piriformis get a good stretch from here and maybe a little bit down a little bit. Same thing where you hold for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, however good you feel about it. Switch sides and repeat. Okay, for this next one, it's also a piriformis stretch, but you're going to be laying on your back to get a different kind of feeling for it. You keep your back nice and straight with it by laying on the ground. We'll be bending this leg on top of the knee again. With your hands, you'll grab behind your leg, and then from there you can adjust the tension that you want by pulling your leg up to your chest or kind of extending your arms and relaxing to kind of feel a different stretch there. Working into the groin, for here you'll be sitting on the ground, and then what you'll do is bend both legs towards you, grab both your feet, and kind of let your knees kind of dangle towards the sides there. From there you'll feel stretches on the inside of your leg, and it'll be uncomfortable, but probably good for you. For this next one, we'll be adjusting the position and being in a hook line position on the ground where your back is laying flat and your knees are bent. From here, we'll just lightly relax both legs to kind of go out into that butterfly position. When you find that end range, you can kind of hang out there as long as you comfortably can, and then come back. From there, you can repeat it as much as you want to kind of get that stretch in the groin. For this next one, we're going to be doing a glute bridge to kind of work a little more hip and quad. We're going to be in another hook line position, and from here, we're going to squeeze our butt together and kind of lift the hips towards the ceiling, keeping our back nice and straight so we don't arch through it. And then from there, you'll kind of feel the hip and the quad a little bit there. From here, you can kind of wrap through it, or you can hold it for a stretch. It's kind of up to you. It's a great exercise, or it's a good stretch. Here's another variation of the half kneel position. We'll be doing the hip and quad again. So squeezing the cheek to kind of extend your hips forward. And then from there you'll get a stretch, and then we'll add in another component where we'll be doing shoulder flexion, raising our arms towards the ceiling so you kind of get your upper body involved with the lower body. Hold that. One thing to keep in mind is that we're not arching through our back, keeping the core nice and tight, and getting that big stretch in the hip flexor and quad. These are going to be great for those that work from home. Here's another hamstring variation where we'll be doing a seated position from the ground. So bending this leg here towards you, holding that, and then from here we'll keep the back nice and straight. Same thing as the other ones where you kind of shift that hip forward and lean, kind of get that forward lean. One thing that you can do to keep yourself from tucking your chest is getting that leg slide down the leg. Good. You should have a good hamstring stretch there, and you can rotate after you've kind of stretched that side. This one's going to be an IT band stretch. So what you're going to do is cross one leg over, grab something you can hold on to in your house. Most commonly, you'll probably use a doorway, and then from there, you'll shift your hips away from the door, like so, and then you'll feel a big stretch down the side of your leg for that IT band. These ones are typically pretty tight, but it's a great stretch, and you'll feel great afterwards. For this one, we'll be doing a child's pose to kind of open up the hips a little more. What you'll do is kind of flare your legs out a little bit. Start in this all fours position, and then sit back. Good. If you need to sink back a little more, widen your legs a little more there. Good. And you'll feel like hip, and you might get a little groin as you kind of go wider. You can kind of relax in this position. It's a very relaxing position to be, so you can kind of hang out here as long as you comfortably want, and then move on from there. For this one, we'll be doing a 90-90 stretch for kind of some hip mobility. For here, we'll be seated 90 degrees in our legs. We'll spread them a good distance so you can kind of get enough space from each other. And then from here, you'll let one leg drop forward. Just look back a little more. Good. And then get nice and tall. Good. And then for the next part, you'll just shift back to the other side. This is a great mobility exercise to kind of lubricate and mobilize those hips. For this next one, we'll be doing a pigeon pose. Where we'll kick one leg forward, bend this leg underneath, and then we'll be extending this back leg. Good. And then from there, we'll get nice and tall. Push up. Yep. Very good. Get taller. Good. And then if you want more of a stretch, you can kind of tuck that leg underneath a little more. Come back down a little bit. And then straighten this leg. That's it. And then straighten this leg. That's it. And then from there, push back up. Good. And that's the pigeon pose. Thank you on behalf of the Santa Cruz Warriors and Kaiser Permanente for joining our C-Dub Classics today. We have activities the last Monday of every month for your information. Please visit santacruzbasketball.com/classics.